Hi and welcome to Wine Around Oz. We're in McLaren Vale and we've come to visit the producers. They run a special program here where the public can come in for a day and learn how to make wine basically from start to end. You get to pick the grapes, you get to crush the grapes, you get to be completely involved in what goes on in producing wine. So we're going to go in and meet David and Tori and we're going to see how it all goes together.
The producers have 60 acres of vines and this stunning, custom-designed cellar door that greets you when you arrive. This is one of our hosts, Tori, and this is our other host, David. This year's been a great year for the producers. In fact, David reckons
this will be probably almost my best vintage ever.
The first stage of the day is to go out and pick the grapes. So David has taken us to some Shiraz vines in the back lot of the vineyard. This is where you get to get your hands dirty. He'll show you how to pick the grapes by hand, then you just dive on in. But don't worry, you won't be here all day. You're here just long enough to understand how to pick them and what the perfect grape should look like. The rest of what you need is already back at the winery waiting for you. Okay, so once we've picked our grapes, we head back to the winery to start the winemaking process. The first thing you do is check the ripeness of the grapes. That's where this thing comes in. This is a refractometer and it measures sugar levels. Just rub a little juice on here, then eat the grapes of course just to taste the ripeness, then look through the tube and voila, it tells you the sugar level. Next, it's onto the crushing stage.
This is the same as what they use in big wineries, except it's just a tiny version. So basically it's got the screw, you would have seen that in the crushers. Yep. Feeds into some rubber jaws that crush the grapes. Goes into this part, which the paddles pull them along. There, see they're slightly angled. It actually pulls the bunches along, and the grapes all go through the holes, and the stems all come out the end.
After you crush and destem grapes, you put them in a big fermenter to, well, ferment. Ferment is where it changes from just straight grape juice into wine. This normally takes around 10 days and obviously we don't have that much time, so here's one David prepared earlier. These ones have been fermenting for about 6 days, so they're about halfway through the process. But back to the hands-on part. It's time for Kat to do some of the hard work.
Get in there.
Right, enough of this pussyfooting around, let's mess this puppy up. Okay, so your grapes have been fermenting for a while. You've turned the grapes and the juice over a couple of times a day and now you want to know how you're cooking. So you get this thing called a hydrometer. This thing will accurately measure the sugar levels in the juice. You see, during ferment, sugars in the juice will react with any yeast that is present and turn the sugar into alcohol. That's the point of the ferment. When the sugar is gone, the ferment's over. The hydrometer measures the density of the juice compared to water and therefore can measure how viscous it is due to sugar. Got it? Well, whatever. This little device is important, okay? So, what does it taste like at this stage?
It's like a lamprey curd, a bit sweet, a bit spritzy.
Right, so now it's time to move on to pressing the juice out of the grapes.
This is an old-fashioned press that apparently dates back to Roman times. So the first ones to invent the screw press, making wine. This is a simple low-tech method.
And everything we do gives you work out.
So when the grapes have finished their ferment, you get it all out of the fermenter and throw it into the press. Once the press is full of grapes, you put this lid on and start the manual task of crushing out all the juice. Then out comes all the juice that will be your wine. At this stage, it's still a little young, so now they're put into barrels to mature. Whilst in the barrel, the wine will also go through a second ferment stage called malolactic fermentation, which adds complexity and flavours to the wine. But where would winemaking course be without a barrel tasting? So off to the cellar we went.
You got to have a go at it. It's past the test, and you have to go spit and do that before you become a winemaker.
Yeah, it's mainly, it seems like a port.
It's designed to be.
That's what it's going to be?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'll put my thumb over and I'll stop there.
And you put the rest back in.
Put it back in there.
And you generally yeah.
I think we'll just show you how to do the winemaker
I'm
spit.
now a winemaker.
The good thing about this one is you
Now what do you think of my wine?
get very port-like.
You can talk rubbish, so you've got the two key things to being a winemaker.
Yeah. I've got my bendy stick and talk rubbish.
Yeah.
So that was what you can do at the producers. I was so excited to get in there and see all the hands-on kind of stuff you can do in small batch winemaking. These guys make it really easy, and they have to plan all the way through as to being able to have the grapes available for the shows, or for the program days when you, the public, turn up to see it. So I'm really glad that there's someone out there who's doing this, so that there is people like us who can get out there and get our hands dirty making the wine, and then having a beautiful lunch to go with it afterwards. So if you're ever out of McLaren Vale, make sure you look these guys up, because this is a fun day, I've got to tell you.